In this video, we're going to take a look at the simple drawing tools inside of Blender. I've started a new Blender file, and you can see that I'm inside the draw mode. And of course, the draw mode is going to bring to the surface all of our wonderful drawing tools. And there's a bunch of them. Let me just show you how some of these work. There's some rock stars in here, and there's some losers in here. And I'm going to show you the rock stars real fast. Of course, we have our pencil. Our pencil tool is going to be our primary drawing tool, especially if you're a sketch artist, you like to go in and draw some organic shapes. It's a pretty great tool. I like it a lot. But there's some ways that we can make it even more powerful, and let me show you specifically what I'm talking about. Now, with all of these tools, please note that at the top of your viewport, the top of your viewport's going to change and bring tool properties to the surface way up over here. So all of these have their own series of properties they're going to find over here. Now, back to the pencil tool. Now, I want to show you some ways that we can make the pencil tool even more awesome, and specifically the radius. Now, right now, mine's set to 86, and you can see the relative stroke size here, which is pretty cool. Now, what if I wanted it to be bigger or smaller? Well, the radius is going to allow us to change the tip size of our brush. At a lower radius value, it's now at 24, you can see the difference in the stroke size. If I increased it past 84 to 100 and something, whoa, now it's getting much bigger. Here's Pat's keyboard shortcut of the day. Check this out. It's going to undo. If you hold down the F key, or just tap it once, excuse me, you're going to be able to interactively change the radius of your brush, which is pretty cool. Now it's 44, looking right there. Tap F, draw out. And now is 132. So the F key, just tap once, and then I'm just left-clicking and dragging. Not even really dragging, just kind of left-clicking and moving the cursor around. And you can see that I am interactively changing the size of my brush, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. That's pretty neat. Now, if you keep cruising down here, there's some other options. You can use pressure on your tablet. I'm currently working on a graphics tablet, so with that option enabled, now it doesn't matter how hard or soft I press on my graphics tablet, it's going to have kind of a uniform thickness across the entire stroke, which is pretty cool. Let me go back. I'm going to turn that option back on. And of course, the strength. This is how hard and how thick the brush is. Okay, now here it is at 6 or 0.6. If we turn this all the way up to 1, you can see now it's just black. So this is going to be kind of like another way of thinking about it is that it's opacity. See how it's kind of semi-transparent where the strokes cross? If you don't want that, if you want it to be completely black, just put it to 1. And now, no transparency. Same goes the other direction. If we put it really small, now it's just a faint value. And some folks really love being able to block out their drawings with these small little lines, these faint little lines, and then go back in later, maybe and darken them back up, which is pretty cool. So got some options in there, which is pretty neat. I'm going to hit undo real fast, Command Z on my keyboard, or Control Z if you're using a PC. Okay, now there's a couple other things in here that I want to show you guys that's going to make working with the pen tool a little bit more of an enjoyable experience, okay? And specifically, I want to jump down to the stroke pull-down menu. Now, I'm working on a graphics tablet, but if you're working with a mouse, sometimes you get really kind of jagged lines. And it's not exactly the most pretty or uniform shape when you're working with a mouse. However, the lovely global developers of Blender have given us this wonderful option inside the stroke menu, which will help stabilize our entire individual stroke. And check this out. I'm just going to turn it on. It's stabilized stroke. And the way this works is now, it may be hard to see on the screen capture, and I apologize, but you see that little red dot that's trailing my cursor? I have to move my mouse pretty fast, otherwise they kind of go on top of each other, so I apologize. But watch what happens. That little stabilization dot is going to make it a nice, smooth, even stroke. So it's a nice way to make smooth arcs. Really handy if you're doing all of your drawing with the mouse. And I would encourage you to look at this radius. This is going to increase the length of that little tail. That little dot. Yes, now it's much bigger. The longer the radius, the smoother the arcs are going to be. You won't be able to make real sharp corners, which is pretty cool. So this is something that I like to have on and off, this stabilized stroke, which is a nice little addition, because now I can make real sharp lines with it on. My ability to make sharp corners is greatly reduced, but I get these really nice smooth arcs. So some really easy ways of making some pretty cool and some consistent shapes with the pen tool, okay, or the standard brush, excuse me. Now I need to get rid of a lot of this stuff here. Here's a great, quick, easy way of doing it. I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I'm gonna grab this option right here, which is gonna allow me to select entire curves, which is pretty cool. Now perhaps I want to get rid of them. Well, here's the power user trick of the day. With anything selected, the X key, X is in xylophone or X-ray, is the keyboard shortcut for deleting just about anything inside of Blender. So we're going to delete all the strokes, and voila, it goes away. I select it, hit the X key. I can select just the points. Sometimes you want to keep the points. In certain shapes, there are points and then strokes. These are all just very simple ones. So deleting the points and the strokes is fundamentally doing the exact same thing. You can also hold down the Shift key and select multiples at the exact same time. Hit X again, get rid of them, bye-bye, and life is good. Now we can get back to the fun stuff of drawing. Let's return to draw mode and look at some of the other simple shape tools. And I'm not going to go through all. This is the paint bucket tool and the eraser tool. So you can check these out on your own. They're pretty self-explanatory. But these down here are pretty neat as well. And they're a little bit unique and a little bit different than how you think they're going to work. These, of course, are going to allow us to create some primitive shapes, some lines, some arcs, some squares, some circles. Let me show you how this works. They all kind of function in the macro sense identically. Of course, what you're going to visually get is going to be different. I'm going to go into my line tool and simply drag out a line. Now, if I hold down Shift while I'm still dragging, I can snap it to increments here, vertical, 45, horizontal, which is pretty cool. Now, the moment I mouse up, notice that I get these cool little yellow dots. Well, I haven't created the shapes yet. These yellow dots will allow us to customize and really transform this line to whatever we want it to be after we create it, which is pretty neat. Now, the only thing we don't get is that snap functionality in here, which is kind of a bummer. But it is nice to let us go in and just kind of continue to customize it after we create the shape. Now, to confirm it, okay, the final step to get rid of these yellow dots and to return into our other shape creation system is that we have to hit the Enter key or the Return key on our keyboard. The moment you do that, the yellow dots are gone, and now we actually have confirmed that this straight line is a part of our drawing, which is pretty cool. Let's do it again. We use the square. Same thing goes with the square, okay? I just drawn it here. These little yellow dots will allow me to go in and do that. Of course, check it out. I have some options up here. Maybe the radius. Oops, can't do that at the moment. I should have done that before. But let's hit the Return key, and then voila, pretty cool. Let's make the radius a little bit smaller. Let's try it now. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So this is some pretty neat stuff. So don't forget to hit the Return key after you're done using these simple shapes. Now, if you mess up, maybe you do want to, in fact, have this be a curve instead of a straight line. Well, as a reminder, our drawing modes over here will allow us to very quickly go in and make some pretty big changes. I'm going to grab my line here. And let's grab some points on here. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have some curve editing going on, which is pretty cool. Let's enable that. I get my Bezier handles down here at this at the tops and the bottoms. Well, right now I'm still selecting the entire stroke. If I go into this point selection system, now I can go in and grab that one box. Maybe grab the tangent handles over here on the side and continue to edit that shape till the cows come home at any single time, which is pretty neat. So we have some wonderful, 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 simple tools that allow us to produce some really phenomenal results. Spend some time just doodling and have fun with these. Explore how all these tools work. Get comfortable creating some simple shapes so that when it comes time to do your lab work and your homework, or maybe even just your own personal animation, you're ready to rock and roll.